Hi and welcome to free Excel tutorial videos. In today's tutorial, I'm going to introduce to you two workarounds for calculated fields in a pivot table for Microsoft Excel. Um, okay, let's look at this Excel workbook that I have over here. I already have the pivot table for my data over here on the left. So let's come over here and see the underlying data that I have. We have four fields. We have the date, the product, the unit, as well as the price per unit. Okay, now we realize that, all right, here in this data, I don't have the total sales or total revenue. So, okay, this might be a good chance for us to test out calculated fields with the pivot tables. Okay, so what we want to do is be in one of the fields that contains value. So if I come over to the pivot table, you see that in the values we have the sum of units. So let's be in this cell over here, any one of these cells in here. And I want to go to the option tab here, and you will find this formula icon. And let's click on the drop down arrow, and you will be able to see the calculated field option. Okay, let's select this one. Okay, so we start here by giving this a name. So let's give it a name. Let's say total sales. Okay, and here is where we enter the formula. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use the formula always begin with the equal sign, and the formula will be the unit. So you can either come here and insert field, and then we're going to multiply with the star key, and we're going to multiply it with the price per unit. All right, because we want to get the total sales. Okay, you can just double click and you can see this inside the formula bar and click OK. So now in the pivot table we have the sum of the total sales. Okay, so this doesn't look very good. So let's come over here and edit the format. So let's right click, go to value field settings. Over here, let's say, okay, let's come to the number format, and I want to just put the number with 0 decimals and use thousand separator, as well as use the currency. Let's see what currency. Let's use the dollar. Click OK. So we have here the result. Okay, but if you notice here, the grand total is how much is that? 223,116,898. It's 223 million. Okay, also it's way too much. So something is wrong here. So what is it that went wrong? Okay, we want to get this right. So let's come over to the pivot table. Say that's, if we put in the date and we remove the product, we will get a better picture. And let's see. So here we have the calculated. Okay, one thing you have to remember about calculated fields, that notice in here the data set that we have multiple records in a single date. Okay, here you can see 16 of February. We have 2 records over here. But in the pivot table, it summarizes all the transactions into one record. Okay, see, there's only 1 here, there's 2 here. Okay, so let's see. Let's come. So the value of the sum unit is the sum of these 2 records. Okay, so this amount is these 2 records. So let's come over here and to the pivot table and add the price per unit. Okay, let's move this a little bit over here. So That's what we needed to understand about the calculated fields. Okay, they operate on the sum of the field in your data set. Therefore, this is obviously something that we need to make a change. Okay, so here comes to the time where we need to use workarounds for calculated fields. I'm going to show you the first one. Okay, so in this case, we found out that we needed to add a field in the underlying data set. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to the pivot table, and let's get rid of the price per unit as well as the total sales. Okay, and then we need to go to the option tab. Okay, we over here, and we choose the formula drop down and choose calculated fields. Okay, notice here that there is a drop down arrow. Okay, so in here we already have one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select this one and we're going to delete it because this calculation is wrong. So we're going to delete this one, click OK, and you can see that the total sales is gone from the pivot table. Okay, so now it's gone, and let's also change the date to the product. So remove the date and bring back the product. Okay, now we realize that in the data set, we need to add in an additional field. So let's type here sales. Okay, the sales. Okay, so the formula for sales will be equals, right? Unit, unit multiply by price per unit. Okay, so we're going to enter. So it's going to be this amount, and we're going to autofill. Okay, and I want to remove the decimal. No, I'll just leave the decimal points. Okay, so now the problem is that the problem that we have now is the pivot table doesn't automatically update. Okay, we have the sales label over here, but it doesn't update. So we need to do, what we need to do is we need to go to the option tab. Okay, and we have to come to change data source. Just click on this one. As you can see here, it's taking the data from column A to column D. So we just have to come over here and change this to E. Click OK. So delete the cancel. I think I did it wrong. Come over here, delete the D and put E. Okay, so now you'll be taking the data from column A to E. So if you press OK, you can see the sales in the pivot table now appearing. Okay, so now let's add sales into the value. Okay, into the values. So we have two. We have the sum of unit, price per unit, as well. I mean the unit as well as the sum of sales. So let's change this formatting a little bit. Let's move this over here. So let's right click, go to the value field settings, and go to the number format, put in currency. Let's go. Let's put in any dollar sign that we can find. And put 0 decimals, and the number I'm going to use 1000 separated. Okay, and click OK. So now we have this amount. Okay, also I want to name it sales. So let's go back to the value field settings. Here, let's just name it as sales. And in order for you to name the label for the pivot table, you need to add a space here. Okay, because sales already exists here. So you cannot put the same name here and here. So you need to put a space bar, and it's going to be okay. Okay. So now let's add in a calculated field. Okay, this time it will work. So let's come over to the option tab, formula, click on a drop down menu and select calculated field. Okay, so not what we want now is to get the average per product sold, or the average unit sale per product. So um, have a single cell selected in the pivot table, which is in the values area. Okay, it's okay. You close this. So you need to be in either here or here, any cells between these two. Come over here and calculate this one. And I'm going to name this average unit sales. Okay, and as for the formula, we will delete the zero first. We will take the sales, double click, and the operator that we're going to use is the divide operator, and divide it by the units. Double click and click OK. Right. So now we have the average unit sale. So again, let's come over here and do the format. Let's come to value field settings. We're going to name this as the average unit sales, and here add a space bar at the end, and also let's put in the currency. Let's put in dollar, zero, and let's go to the number, use the thousand separator and click OK. So we have the average of 1490. Okay, so say now we want to verify this result. Okay, so we have the opportunity to use the second way, or the second method, to work around for the calculated fields trouble spots. So in this case, we will use the formula outside the pivot table. So I'm going to create a field outside the pivot table. So I'm going to come here, and right here I'm going to put average. Okay, what we'll do is I'm going to type in the formula. So I'm going to type equals, and instead of pointing to the cell, okay, what I want to do now is type in the cell location. So now the formula for average is uh, I column I for the sales, okay, divide by the unit. Okay, so it's going to be I4 divide by H4. So I'm going to click enter. Okay, the reason I want to do this is because if you point the mouse to point to the cell, you won't be able to use autofill, because remember we're working with a pivot table. Okay, so now I want to come here and autofill. You can get the result. They're almost the same: 1490, 1489, 1490. If you come over here and format, remove the decimal points and add in the dollar sign, okay, and then you can remove the decimal points, you will see that the answer is the same. Okay, so that is how you can perform workarounds for calculated fields in Excel pivot tables. Okay, so I hope you get a good idea on how this works, and that will be all for this video. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.